Hello viewers, welcome to another new video. Here I am Pramod and I would like to welcome all of you to my channel, our English classroom. And in this channel you will get several grammatical videos along with spoken English materials and also some vocabulary videos. So if you are new to the channel, so please subscribe the channel so that you can get all the updates. Okay, so let's get started. So this is the video on participle and this is part 3. Already I have uploaded 2 more videos on participle where I have discussed about present participle and past participle. And in this video, as you can see on the board, the topic is perfect participle. Well, what is a perfect participle? The first thing I would like to share you that this is a rare category of structure that used very rarely in sentences. It is not a frequent structure that we use for our writing purpose, but it is used very rarely. So that is the reason students are not familiar with this perfect participle structure. But remember one thing, that if you get mastered in this structure of perfect participle, then you can make your way out in a better way. And that is the thing. So if you want to become fluent in English, if you want to become a good writer, then you must need to use perfect participle. Well, so let's take a look. So the topic is perfect participle and it will get 3 structures: active sentence structure, passive sentence structure, and the negative structure. Okay, so as we all know that participle is a non-finite form of the verb that we usually use to describe anything or to make a description of anything by using the verb or the word that we usually use for the verb. But perfect participle is a little bit different than the other forms of participle like present participle and past participle. Here it happens that a perfect participle actually tells us the sequence of activity, like you have done one activity and after that you have done another activity, and if you want to make a connection between these 2 activities, you can apply perfect participle. Similarly, if you've done an action before another action, you can make the connection with perfect participle form. Well, you're very familiar with using before and after structure, as we all know that for example, if I say that I had done the work before I took lunch. So this is a very common example in our daily English sentences. So you can also write this sentence by using a perfect participle pattern. Okay, so having done my work, I took lunch. So this is the pattern, having done my work. So take a look. So the structure goes like this. It's a very simple structure. First thing, we need the ing form of to have verb. So have, has, had. We are very familiar with this 3 form of verbs. But this verb, especially the have form, can be applied with ing pattern, so it can become having. Okay, so the perfect participle starts with having. Remember this thing, a perfect participle all the time starts with having and followed by a V3 form. So remember that V3 is the past participle form of the verb and V3 itself is a participle. But here, after using having, we again use the V3 form because this is the structure of perfect participle. So here, after using having, we will use the V3 form, and then one after another we will add the required things, like we can apply object if we require it, we can also use modifier if we need it, and finally after the V3 form and the modifier section, we need the main clause where we will get our subject and there will be the finite verb with extension. Remember one thing, perfect participle is not a finite verb, rather it's a part of a non-finite verb. So that is the reason if you want to make a sentence with perfect participle, you definitely need another finite verb to complete your sentence. Otherwise, it will not going to create any sense. Okay, so let's take some example. So number one, having worked for the entire day, she was tired. So this sentence is actually tell us about the sequence of the activity. Well, the first sequence that she worked for the entire day, and the end result is she got tired. So you can also keep in your mind that a perfect participle can be used to show the cause and effect of something. Like, what is the cause? The cause is walking the entire day. And what is the effect? The effect is getting tired. Okay, so you can also apply perfect participle in these situations. Or go for the next sentence, having done the work. Having done the work, I went home. So this is actually showing the both the thing, the reason of that I could go home. Why? Because I have done my work. So another way you can think like that. First of all, I have completed the work and then I went home. So it is also showing that I first completed the work and after that I went home. So this is the sequence that we can to show the sequence we can use perfect participle. Okay, so if you want to make it in a complex sentence, it will look like that I had done the work. And if you make it a compound sentence, it will look like that I had done the work and went home. Okay. If you make it a complex sentence, it will look like I went home after I had done the work. So you can also write this type of sentences by using after or before. But if you want to make it in a simple sentence pattern where there will be only one finite verb, so you definitely need the perfect participle structure to express such type of sense. Okay, so go for the next example. Having taken dinner, the guest left my house. Having taken dinner, the guest left my house. So here having plus V3 form of take and then object dinner, and the guest is the subject, left is the finite verb, and extension my house. Well, here it's clearly visible that the guests first took the dinner and after this activity they left my house. So clearly it shows the sequence of activity. Okay, so what happened? The guest the guest left my house after they had taken the dinner. Okay, so now we will discuss about that the perfect participle form can be used in passive forms also. Okay, so what will be the structure then? Then you will need an extra been or the V3 form of to be after the having and before your V3 form. The structure is a little bit complex, that having plus been plus V3. So remember one thing, when you are dealing with active form, it will be having plus V3, and if you are dealing with passive form, it will be having plus been plus V3, and followed by the object and subject, final verb and extension. It will be as it is of the active format. So go for the examples please. So having been insulted multiple times, he decided to learn self-defense. So this sentence is very interesting, that the main thing is that the person, he actually decided to learn self-defense. But why? The reason why he decided to learn self-defense, because the cause is he has been insulted multiple times. So this is also showing that that person he didn't insult himself, because a person does not insult himself, so he was insulted by someone. So this is called a passive sentence, where the action is done by another doer, where we are focusing on the action, not to the doer. So here, as the sentence was, he had been insulted multiple times, it will become having been insulted multiple times. So when you are dealing with a passive sentence, if you want to make it a perfect participle, you can do so just applying having plus been plus the V3 form. Alright, so just keep that in your mind. Then go for the next sentence. Having been kept on the table, the ice cube melted. Well, ice cube usually melt because of the temperature changes. So, but an ice cube never can get onto a table by itself. So someone needs to keep that on the table, right? So that is the reason we need to make it into passive form, having been kept by someone. So the ice cube had been kept by someone on the table. And what is the result? The result is that the ice cube melted. So having been kept on the table, the ice cube melted. So the final example of passive of perfect participle is having been rewarded for the work, John decided to work with renewed motivation. Okay, so this sentence is very interesting, where we are talking about John and his decision to work with renewed motivation. But John was rewarded by another person, or the authority, or the organization where he works. So that is the thing, that John was rewarded, or John had been rewarded by somebody. John could not reward himself. Alright, so we are talking about a passive form. So that is the reason it is having plus been plus rewarded. So in this way you can make passives with the structure of perfect participle. And now our last segment is how to create a negative form of perfect participle. Well, it's a little bit different than the as usual negative form, where we will need the negative word not at the beginning of the sentence. So the structure goes like not plus having plus V3. It means not will be followed by the perfect participle pattern, and after that I haven't written this the remaining structure, because it will be as it is, like the previous two structures. Here will be object with modifier, and then subject and finite verb, and extension. So take a look on about the examples of negative. Not having studied well, he could not make the expected result. Not having studied well, it means he had not studied well, and the result is he could not able to make the expected result. So as I have told earlier, that a perfect participle usually tells us about cause or the reason why the action happened, or what is the outcome of the action. So it can easily tells us about causes and effects. So not having studied well, this is the cause, and the effect is couldn't make the expected result. And if you go through that, it can be also the sequence that at first he didn't study it well, and the result is he couldn't make a good result. So I hope that if you practice sentences by applying these three structures, you will definitely going to be master in perfect participle writing procedure. So keep practicing, and hope to see you soon in another new video. Till then, take care and goodbye.